A short blonde-haired guy that looks very similar to Meliodas is running away from some people. They chase him into holy grounds that are forbidden to enter. It seems like they got him cornered, but he utters a chant and a secret passageway opens, allowing him to flee into it. We see 6 of the 7 deadly sins, hunting down large monsters and gathering them by the Boar Hat, which is the pub that Meliodas owns. Elizabeth explains that Bartra, the king of Lyones and her father, has his birthday coming up soon. They wanted to throw an amazing feast for him, and that is why they are out here hunting for rare ingredients. Meliodas also shows up, but his hunt for a skyfish was without success. So instead he starts doing perverted stuff to Elizabeth, which friend of Meliodas called Hawk, the speaking pig-like creature, stops. Pan decides to coach Meliodas on how to cook stuff properly, since he is notorious for making everything he prepares taste awful. Meliodas ends up not really following Ban's instructions, and after baking an apple pie, only Escanor is brave enough to try it. The apple pie is yet another disaster as Escanor throws up all over Meliodas, and Hawk thanks to eating it. The two of them go out towards the small spring in the woods nearby to wash off. Looking into the spring, they see a bright light shining through and skyfish behind it. Happy that they managed to find the elusive skyfish, they jump in and swim towards the light. At the same time, the bright light disappears, and the guy that looks identical to Meliodas swims up to the surface. He runs out of the forest and is amazed by the view of the vast plains and mountains around him, stating how the great Oshiro must be somewhere out there. His monologue gets interrupted by King and the other deadly sins who were out looking for Meliodas. At first they think that this guy is Meliodas, but as he starts running away from them and reveals he has a pair of wings on his back, they realize it is not him. Meanwhile, on the other side of the spring, Meliodas and Hawk are in some cave, where they get confronted by the same pursuers that were after his lookalike. Their leader is a big muscular guy named Zoria, who calls Meliodas Salad. Since he entered the forbidden spring, Zoria gives him a cloak to cover himself and issues the order to arrest him, leaving the pate behind, but Hawk protests and follows along. Once they are out of the cave, it becomes clear that they are in fact high up in the sky on top of one of the floating islands, and the flying skyfish are swimming through the clouds. Down on Earth, the Meliodas lookalike confuses Elizabeth for Elate, who appears to be someone close to him, bearing a close resemblance to Elizabeth. But he is quickly corrected by everyone. He was convinced that everyone on Earth has been killed by the demon clan, but learning that this is false makes him wonder if the legends passed down among his people are wrong. Gauther speaks up and introduces Sala to everyone, explaining that he is one of the Celestials. Up on the Sky Island, Meliodas is brought before their elder, who explains that he is the successor of the winged sword, a blade passed down through the generations and used to fight demons. This is their law, and he broke it by leaving beforehand. Meliodas wonders if they are not confusing him for someone else, since everyone keeps calling him Salad. The conversation gets interrupted by a girl that looks very much like Elizabeth appearing, asking to see Salad. Hawk thinks it is Elizabeth, but Meliodas somehow immediately realizes she is not his beloved. Using her wings, the girl flies over and embraces Meliodas, again thinking he is Salad. As she hugs him, she realizes he does not have his wings, and removes the cloak that covered up his back. Everyone is in shock, thinking that Salad has lost his wings due to his transgression, made by running away from the succession ceremony. Zoria is there as well, and we learn that he is Salad's father because he disows him as his son because of that. The elder orders Meliodas to be put in a cell, and Meliodas goes along with it for the time being. On the way out, the elder spots Hawk as he is hiding under a nearby table. Down on Earth, Salad properly introduces himself to the group and apologizes for his behavior before. They figure out that Meliodas and Hawk must have jumped into the spring and ended up on the side where Salad came from. Salad talks about the time of ruin, which foretells that the seal placed on the demon clan will disappear soon, and that will result in all of the Celestials getting wiped out. In order to prevent that, he came down to Earth with the goal of finding the great Oshiro. The Sins are intrigued by his story and want to learn more details. The elder on the Sky Island is fascinated by Hawk. In private, she feeds him and talks to him about the murals covering the ceiling of the temple they are in, explaining that there was a great war a long time ago between the demon clan and the goddess clan. One of the goddess clans was in danger of getting wiped out by the demons, but then the great Oshiro appeared and saved them. It is then that Hawk happens to step into a ray of light, making his body appear to be glowing white. The elder is shocked at how much he resembles the Oshiro from Legends. The same story is being told by Solid down on Earth, explaining the situation to the Sins, adding how the goddess clan has been handing down the winged sword through generations so they can defeat the demon clan, and they are descendants of that same goddess clan. But he believes that they will need the great Oshiro to help them, so he ventured down onto Earth to search for him, even though it is forbidden to do so. They consider helping him look, but since he has no leads as to where to find the great Oshiro, they decide instead to go check up on Meliodas and Hawk. Solid starts looking on his own, but quickly gets ambushed by a demon. Thankfully, the Sins were still nearby, and they jump in to help him. The deadly Sin named Merlin identifies the demon as Gara from the 6 Knights of Black. Gara is shocked they knew her, and upon learning that they are the 7 deadly sins, decides to blow up the spring, effectively destroying the portal to the Sky Island before they crush her. After crushing her, they realize that she was just a puppet and not the real Gara. With her appearing before them, it becomes clear that the demon clan is ready to return, and Solid loses hope since he did not find Oshiro yet. The Sins cheer him up and decide to give him a hand with the demons. Since they cannot use the spring anymore, they gather by the Boar Hat pub, making it break off from the ground and fly up into the sky. Meliodas gets bored in his cell and breaks out, taking a stroll around the Sky Island. He runs into the Elizabeth lookalike Elate. While trying to explain to her that he is not Solid, the guards led by Zoria catch up with him. Zoria decides to discipline Meliodas, still thinking he is his son Solid, but Meliodas easily overpowers him. Before everyone can process what is going on, an explosion comes from the direction of Egg Rock, the place where the demon clan is sealed. A demon has broken out and began killing Celestials by harvesting and eating their souls. Zoria quickly joins up with other Celestials, but gets overpowered by the demon. Meliodas goes into action and protects Zoria, defeating the demon with ease, which causes the souls it devoured to return to their bodies, reviving the fallen Celestials. Hawk and the Elder arrive just as this was happening, with Hawk unknowingly jumping on top of the defeated demon's body. The Elder is convinced that Hawk is the one who defeated the demon and saved everyone. A celebration is held in Hawk's honor, and during it Elate gets a chance to talk to Meliodas in private. Figuring out that he is not Solid, she still asks of him to pretend that he is until the ceremony of passing down the winged sword is over. Apparently, it is a sacred ceremony where the sword is passed down to the son of the head warrior. Hearing Elate's explanation and her faith in Solid, Meliodas agrees to keep silent about the misunderstanding a bit longer. Gauther is poking into Solid's memories while he is sleeping, where he sees his conversation with Elate. Solid promised he would find the great Oshiro to help them prepare for the return of the demon clan, and with his father refusing to listen to his reasoning, he was forced to act on his own against the law. Those memories turn more into nightmares, and Solid wakes up in a panic. Ban overhears it and provokes Solid in order to draw out some courage and determination from him. It is the next day, and the ceremony to inherit the winged sword begins. Zoria is ready to pass down the winged sword, but as he is handing it over to Meliodas, Egg Rock breaks open and demons begin pouring out of it. The 6 Knights of Black appear, and they quickly realize that one of their own was already defeated yesterday. While the Celestials are managing to hold off the basic demons, they stand no chance against the remaining 6 Knights of Black. Elate engages one of the 5 remaining powerful demons and almost gets killed. Meliodas arrives just in time to save her, but the leader of the 6 Knights of Black, Belian, senses his strong aura and rushes at Meliodas, bringing himself and Meliodas away from others to fight one-on-one. The Elder asks Hawk for help, but is disappointed to learn that Hawk is not the powerful Oshiro as she believed. Things are appearing grim for the Celestials, but at that point Solid, Elizabeth, and the remaining 6 of the 7 deadly sins arrive flying in on top of the large chunk of land that holds the pub. Elate is about to be finished off by one of the Knights of Black when Solid rushes in and flies her to safety. The two lovers have a short but emotional reunion. With the deadly sins joining the fight, the demons start getting pushed back. Meliodas and Belian fight it out, and in the fight we learn that Belian is holding a grudge against the 10 Commandments. more specifically against their leader who refused to allow him to become one of the commandments. Meliodas mocks him for holding a grudge over something so petty, which just enraged Belian. Zoria, still thinking Meliodas is Solod, rushes to help him fight Belian. Belian easily stabs through Zoria, but Zoria cuts off Belian's arm with the winged sword. Since the sword is specifically made to defeat demons, Belian is unable to save his arm. Meliodas stands by Zoria to try and help him, but Belian takes control of his severed arm and uses it to make Zoria push his winged sword into Meliodas. Belian gloats over his body and is just about to deliver the finishing blow, as the other Sens make their appearance, pushing Belian away from Meliodas. Seeing Meliodas impaled like that makes Elizabeth break down in tears. Escanor, being the strongest out of the Sens, tries to pull out the sword, but it does not budge. The Elder also comes by explaining that it is due to the sword's power, which allows it to only be handled by the head warrior. Zoria gets healed from his injury and is finally made realize that Meliodas is not Solod. Solod explains the situation to him and tells him about the 7 deadly sins who he brought to help them fight the demons. Zoria passes on the head warrior title to Solod and tells him to pull out the sword from Meliodas, but as he is about to do it, Meliodas' demon mark shows up. Realizing that Meliodas is a demon, Zoria stops Solod, and it is their law to use this sword to defeat demons, so he cannot allow him to remove it. Meanwhile, Belian retreats to Egg Rock and uses the souls of his fallen comrades to forcefully break open the final seal, releasing the demon beast Indura. The overflowing demonic power of Indura makes him grow a new arm in place of the one he lost. Elizabeth pleads with Zoria, explaining that Meliodas is a kind person even though he is a demon. But Zoria is firmly sticking to traditions and laws. With Indura approaching, the Sins move out to fight and stop it from bringing the time of ruin, leaving Meliodas to Elizabeth and Hawk. By their efforts, they are able to slow down Indura, but not stop it entirely. Solod steps up, saying how he does not want to stand and fight for the laws, but for the sake of the people who live here. Solod then removes the winged sword from Meliodas, releasing him from the seal. Meliodas wakes up and finally meets Solod. He rushes off to help his friends. Ban is getting pushed around by Belian, but Meliodas arrives and resumes the fight with Belian. Solod figures out the true purpose of the winged sword, coordinating its power with everyone to bring forth a powerful spell and seal away Indura once and for all. It is then that Belian realizes who Meliodas really is, namely Meliodas the betrayer, the former leader of the 10 Commandments. Belian stands no chance against him, but before he gets completely destroyed, he offers his soul to Indura, empowering it even further. With the sudden boost in power, Indura is able to overcome the seal that Solod was trying to place upon it. Indura then charges straight into the town towards innocent people. Hawk is still there among them, and in a panic he screams for his mother to save him. Then the large chunk of land with the Boar Hat pub crashes into Indura. As the land breaks off and Merlin teleports the pub away, we see that a massive green pig-like creature was underneath it all along. It is this creature that Hawk calls his mother that is responsible for moving the pub around. Indura fires a devastating beam of destruction towards Hawk's mother, but she eats it up and fires it back, dealing serious damage to Indura. Seeing Indura has been weakened, Solod starts preparing the sealing magic once again. Meliodas and the rest of the Sins execute a powerful attack to keep Indura weakened. Thanks to that, Indura cannot resist the seal, and once Solod activates it, Indura is successfully sealed away once and for all. Everyone is relieved and celebrates their victory. Meliodas and his friends get invited to stay and party, but they decline as they need to attend the king's birthday party. Remembering how they came here to find the elusive skyfish, they get one before returning back to Earth. As they are flying back down the back of Hawk's mother, we can see a bright white light shining from within her, just like the one depicted in the murals of the Sky Temple. Hey, thank you for staying all the way till the end. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. It takes only a second, but it means everything to us. Have a great day and see you in the next video.